A big way my giving changed when I grew deeper in my Unitarian Universalism is I'm very open about the fact that I grew up very, very poor and that I've lived most of my adult life very, very poor. It's really only been a few years that I've been able to pay my bills. And so I approached giving as though I was some kind of philanthropist reading like charity giving guides, and the only, I'd give my $5 or $10 to like 5-star rated, charities, right? I had this distance between me and my giving, even though I wasn't giving very much. And as I became deeper in my Unitarian Universalism, I got closer and closer to where I was giving, to the point that I have a much different portfolio of giving now. And I frequently have a certain amount of money that I give every month directly to people who need it. In fact, I just got done housing someone for several weeks that was in great need, and giving them money, providing them food. And I also write checks, and in fact, it's kind of the only reason I have a checkbook. This will probably be the shortest sermon you hear from me. The sermon has been the service. And over the next 4 to 6 weeks, we will link the way this congregation creates belonging, love, and builds beloved community. Using your dollars, your gifts, in the most careful, loving ways possible to get the most out of every single penny you give us, to do the most good and spread the most love. And I think that that's another way you get very close to your giving. Just like how we used my staff dollars and some of Lori's to help Luis, we're now showing you how much your dollars will make love grow. You have to give in order to receive love. That's the crazy thing. It's a crazy thing about community. That's why when somebody breaks up with someone, they're like, oh, I don't know if I should take the chance again. I'm never going to date again. Forget it. I'm deleting all the apps, right? And if you weren't one of those people who dated on apps, then you're like, don't introduce me to anyone. I don't want to hear about it, right? I'm done. If you only date one gender, then you write off the whole gender, right? That's really convenient for the people who only date one gender. I'd have to give up people. That cracks me up. If you only show up once in a while to this community, then you start to treat it like a TED Talk. How is the TED Talk today? Did she get it done in 19 minutes? I'm just going to watch it on YouTube. But if you show up and you have some risk and you put your heart into it, and then you put your money behind it, and you dry the dishes, and you move the chairs, and you operate the camera, and you go to the group, you become more involved, and your heart goes with your hand and your feet. Well, that's when you take the risk, and that's when your heart can grow here. Nancy Dempsey, one of our longtime members, who's traveling right now, was worried when we started writing mission statements that we might write a mission about how we're just the givers and we aren't receiving anything when we give. And I tried to assure her that wasn't what we were trying to do. Right, Jerome? Jerome has been kind of our board liaison and our chair of our interim transitions team that the board charged with writing the new mission, which you'll hear more about next week. The thing about giving is that you always get more than you gave. You take that ownership in it. So when you give your stewardship dollars, you go, that's my place, right? You get to say, this is your church. I say, this is the church I serve. That every effort to draw the circle wider brings the gift right back. It is in your vulnerability that you give, in loving others that you receive love. So thank you for all the generosity you have shared. And I dare you to stretch more. Because just like the story I told you today about Luis, there are so many more. And today we got to know Elizabeth Van Orden and her family a bit better. So thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you for being vulnerable and generous with us. How we fund our congregation is part of living out our values. I'm going to tell you stories every week about that. And some are stories of belonging, and some are about trauma, and some are about joy. You are helping yourself when you give. You are helping children like my son and Luis's daughter and Lori's daughter, who's now on the board at her UU church. I see Kim Frank out there, who's, helping to shepherd our senior high youth group. And so is Lori's son is now one of our senior high youth group advisors. And Mari's daughter is one of our senior high youth group advisors, and Ed's daughter. Right? These are all leaders that you're fueling. You don't even know that you're fueling them. You don't even know where they're going right now. Yep, this year we're going to have cottage meetings. And yep, again this year we're going to look at those quartile analysis. Right? And we're going to ask if you can move up within your quartile, or could you move up to the next quartile? This is kind of like the big secret, right? What do your neighbors give? Some people said that was really eye-opening last year. You had no idea, right? Because we have some people who give $10 a week, and you have some people who give $250 a month, which is about what it costs per household to fund this congregation. And you have some people who give enough for 3 families, and you have some people who help make up the difference, and that's all awesome, and we all belong. And that's the beauty of UU community, is that we all help each other out. Some can do more, some can do less, and we all belong, and we want you all. This year we're going to do a special cottage meeting on kind of how retirement giving might be a little different for people who are in a different kind of way their income distributes. We'll talk about that. Some people need a financial waiver. I beg you to please make that decision sooner rather than making that the focus of my life for all of April, May, and June. I'm leaving. Would you please let me have good goodbyes and just check off that mark if that's what you need. We're delighted to do that for you. And I have this great news for every single one of you. You could raise or lower your pledge at any moment. You could write down what you want this week and come to a cottage meeting and raise it 20% the next week. We can change it. You can lose your funding for whatever way you have your life and need a financial waiver, and we will change it. It's no big deal. We do it all the time. Okay? Just ask. Just ask. It's so much better than Nancy Reagan's just say no. Just ask. For those of you too young, you don't need to know. It's like the Calgon thing. I'll tell you later. Okay? Why do we do this? Why? Why is she talking about money again? Because we want to fulfill our mission. Okay? We want to fulfill our mission. We are not here to get rich. No one's getting rich. Okay? I promise you. Instead, we are beating our heads against our desk going, could we afford one of those fold-up signs, maybe? I'd really like one of those cool ones that says the name of the sermon and what class is going on, but I need one of you to leave me $50,000 for that. That's what I need for that, all right? Right? If you want to write out that check, great. If you want me to stop talking about money, we could end this next week. I will be NPR. I don't care. Write out all the checks right now. We will stop talking about it. It's up to you. You have the power. Right? I'd like it this year if we don't have a break in how we do tech. Right? We do with tech what most churches that have 6 people employed. Right? We break it together with a couple volunteers and one very part-time tech person. And people go, why doesn't that work? Why doesn't that work? Isn't that so-and-so's job? You want to know why it doesn't work? It's because we don't have several $100,000 that we've paid into that. We haven't put 20 grand in that. We don't have more people. That's why. You want to know why? Money. That's why. All right? I don't have more bodies. What we do is a miracle. I'd sure like to raise the salary of the next settled minister. I told you last year we were paying way under the rate for the minister, right? This year we got a ton of applications because we are paying the rate that the UUA says we are supposed to pay. That would not have happened a year ago. You did that. You made that happen. Why do we really do it? To grow a beloved community. We want to create more love in the world. So every week I'm going to tell you stories of how we do that, because let me tell you, we make miracles right here. Right here, you do it. We don't have to go give money to another charity and raise money for other groups, because right here there are miracles that happen every week. Every single week. We do it for the kids. We do it to make more love. We do it for the 13-year-old boy who never knew he was going to come from Columbia to a place called Chicago and end up working for a church that professes love. And we would go out of our way to help him in his quest to spend more time with his daughter and become a legal citizen. We do it for families that go live in that house. We do it for a whole lot of sick people. I went to a church last weekend that has 800 members, and I looked at how much pastoral care they do, and I am ready to go toe-to-toe with them because I think we do more pastoral care than them. We do it to make families stronger. We do it to take care of our community. Because that spreads Unitarian Universalism. That makes you stronger. We do it for you, and by God, we do it for the kids. Can I hear an amen? Amen. Amen.